This is JJ Humphrey. I am with Bobby Cleveland, and this is Elephant in the Room, where we like to talk about what nobody else in the state is talking about. So today, Bob, we're going to start off with something new that maybe you suggested we do this, Bob. We
Yep.
start off just talking about pet peeves. So if y'all got a pet peeve, tune us in, throw that to us, email that to us. Let us know what your pet peeve is, and we may talk about it on here. My first pet peeve, Bob, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but Bob, do you know it makes me mad? I get probably 30 robocalls a day, 30 of those. And guess what, Bob? They all want, are you eligible for Medicare? We want to talk to you about a new program that Trump's got for Medicare. Golly, Bob, drives me crazy. It drives me crazy.
Yep.
Every 5 minutes. And let me see what else. Bob, you get any of those? What else do you?
Oh yeah. Oh, I get those. I get. Before I can even get to my emails, I got to delete about an hour's worth of emails before I can even get to mine.
Well, I ain't got them on my emails. I've got them on my dadgum, phone in the house phone. Bob, I guarantee you, there ain't nobody but robo calls me. I've got to where I won't even hardly answer the house phone because
my phone will say my phone will say something I don't just something don't answer it.
Well, then what gets me, Bob? Half of them can't even talk English. The minute I open that up and they can't talk English, I'm just like, hey, I'm closed. I'm done.
Yeah, or this is Medicare calling. We're calling to give you an update, and they're not calling to give me an update.
Well, death benefits. They got this big deal now on death benefits, Bob. And man, it irks me off. I'll be like, hey, there ain't no benefits on dying. Just get off here. I ain't even talking to you. And it's just every time college stuff, they got the scams. Bob, the scams going on with them is unbelievable. You guys need to be watching out for scams if they're calling you. And a lot of these, like my wife got one the other day saying that she owed money for something that she had bought, and that they were going to come and arrest her. She's like, can they really arrest me? I said, they can't arrest you. The guy ain't even talking English. Hey, that ain't nobody. I got on there and give them heck. They finally hung up on me. It was hilarious. But Bob, hopefully, we did something on that on legislators, but I think it got worse after we passed some law saying that we were going to cut those out, and I think I get double the calls since we did that. So apparently we didn't do much good. Well, Bob, today what I wanted to talk about, the reason I want to talk about this, I got several subjects. So one subject that we're going to talk about in the near future, Bob, is the fact that we have our government paying foreign people to come here and start business. So they're giving these business grants and business loans at 1% to people who are not citizens. And you go in there and start reading about it. Well, they're making America grow and they're making the business grow and they, contributed. Well, daggum, why not let Americans why not let the people who pay the taxes? So we're going to talk about that. If y'all know anything about that, I'm trying to research that more and just find out before we go to talking about it, find out how much you see your convenience stores, Bob, you see your hotels, you see your trucking business. What got me on this, I started researching some stuff on some chicken houses the other day. And guess what? The same thing. And all these businesses are being bought by people who are foreigners. And again, I'm not against foreigners, but why are we loaning our tax dollars to them to let them take over our entire business? You can't find a hotel anymore owned American. You can't find a convenience store owned American. It's time that we stand up and say, hey, our tax dollars shouldn't be going to sell out America. And so we're going to talk about that soon. I want to talk about AI soon, Bob. AI is a big, big deal. I want to talk about that. Got to research that a little bit more. But today what we're talking about is Gentner Drummond. And Gentner, of course, is running for governor. But he's done several things here, Bob, that I just couldn't ignore. There's just so many things that he's doing that just seem like, wow. And I thought it deserves talking to. And so, first thing that he just recently did, Bob, I guess this is just maybe yesterday or something. He went to a Republican meeting. It was a private meeting, is my understanding, and he kind of crashed the Republican meeting. I think they had Langford, and I think they had Weaver, and I think they had Maisie up there to speak, and he kind of crashed the meeting and really, really made some people extremely mad. So, Bob, do you think as a politician that you ought to just be able to show up on a meeting like it?
No, I guess if they didn't invite you, they didn't want you. They can
Well, what I saw a bunch of them writing was that they didn't want rhinos, which I kind of laughed. Well, you got Langford there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I would kind of put Langford in the rhino business. To me, I don't know everybody else. Everybody's to their own opinion. If you got a different opinion, it doesn't make me mad. If your opinion that Gittner's not a rhino, that doesn't make me mad as well. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I can kind of get where they would do that. But here's the question, Bob. Was it a GOP meeting or was it a private? Now, I can't find that out because if it's a GOP meeting, then it's not really private, right?
Well, yeah, it could be a private GOP meeting, but with a group of people. I mean, I don't know what they are in Tulsa. What they invite certain guests to be there. They could do that. They can invite whoever they want.
Well, I'll just tell you, kind of like if I pay attention to those OK2A meetings, and I pay attention to GOP meetings, and if I'm out there and I'm close in the neighborhood, if I was in, say, Broken Arrow, but I knew they was going to have a GOP meeting in Tulsa, I would probably show up at a GOP meeting if I could make it. Just double over.
I think there's a difference between showing up and trying to speak.
Well, that may be true. I don't know what he did, but I know he made a lot of people mad right there in that he just walked in what they acted like tried to own the show. And, I know, Bob, I went to what's that, OPAC meeting, right before that they kind of take the summer off when we go out of session and stuff, they take off. I went to one right before they closed, and I think Governor Stitt was speaking at that meeting, and Gittner got right up. Bob, you know how that stage is and how the table.
Yeah,
was you at that meeting? Was you there when he did that?
No, but I heard about it.
Got right up there like he was sitting almost. His knees was up on that stage. You know what I'm saying? Right against the stage, and it just it wasn't a good look. As far as normally stuff like that doesn't bother me. I could care less. If you're trying to intimidate somebody.
Well, I don't think if I recall correctly, that was a meeting where they had candidates there speaking. Now, of course, he's not running again, and he was talking about the session, and so that's a whole different ballgame.
It is, but Bob, you'd have to see the way he did it. He did it just to try to intimidate Stitt, which he wasn't intimidating Stitt. I mean, I can tell you that you like Stitt, not like Stitt, but he's not easily intimidated. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He could handle it himself, and he handled it just fine. But it was obvious what he was trying to do, and it wasn't a good look for him. It just wasn't a good look. And here we are again, him going to this, crashing this. It's just not a good look when you try to just, I'm in control. I'm the guy that's going to run everything. And, you act like that. And so, boy, he got a lot of negative feedback. I don't know if you saw that, Bob, where they were writing on that post and people were commenting.
Well, but the fact is, we don't really know what happened. Just like that's just like on Ryan's nudity. Don't know what happened, but they come out right off the bat and called him everything in the book.
Well, Bob, on that one, on Ryan stuff, and again, what tickles me, it's the same people doing Ryan stuff. Okay, here's the deal. that was fine. I said, let's have an investigation. But you don't investigate Ryan. How do you know Ryan's done something wrong? Who's the one who put that on there? And what was it? They didn't even know what it was. They didn't know who put it on there. And yet they're screaming, let's investigate Ryan Walters.
And they want to impeach him without having all the facts.
Oh, they convicted him. They smeared him. They did everything. But again, one of the biggest problems I had with that whole group, you ask them to investigate rapes that we provide mountains and hours of testimony on. You ask them about, to investigate human rights violation that we have DOC's own people telling us going on, confirmed it. You ask them to investigate kids being waterboarded, raped, whatever, and guess what? You can't get them. And not only would they not do it, but they went after me to do it. So again, but here they go after Ryan. And I agree. That's why we're talking about this today, because that's why I'm asking, is this a GOP meeting or is it not? Because if it's
that's what I'm saying. We don't really know just what we read. If it actually happened, what happened, I just like to have a little bit more facts on it.
I think you're right, Bob. I think that's what we need. But I am saying that, man, it seemed like I can tell you, if you read all the responses of people in that meeting, they were very, very upset at the way he came into the meeting, the way they talked. And it wasn't one, it was a bunch of them just talking how he walked in the room, tried to carry the room, tried to take over the room. And again, I don't know, maybe him just showing up and them being mad at him. You're right, Bob. It may be a situation where they're over, exaggerating the thing. But I can tell you this, he's made a lot of people mad this week, enough that it's worth talking about, because, Bob, if you go out, he's the guy in the lead. And when you're a guy in the lead, everybody's looking kind of at you. And, just like doing this, he made a lot of people mad. But Bob, I don't know, a week before this, he's at another event. Some ladies that have worked very, very hard on COVID. They've worked with me to put together a brief. They've worked with me to put together a probable cause to have Fauci and others that are involved in COVID here in Oklahoma arrested. That is a very well put together, document, right. Several documents. We not only that, but I worked with some other ladies to get verification of the case. So they not only have the brief that outlines it, they not only have a probable cause that lays out the statutes, but they have the evidence to go with this. Case is made to go with it, and he refuses to look at it. They walk into a meeting he's at. He doesn't know they're taping him, and they start, hey, we'd like to talk to you about COVID. And he's like, hey, y'all ain't going to vote for me. I don't care. And he turns around and tells them, hey, I'm a grown-ass man, and I'll do anything I want, and I don't need your vote. And, Bob, that went out. I mean, that video has went out. I've heard lots of people talking about that video, and he sure didn't do himself no favors right there.
Yeah, that wasn't very good. You could feel like that. I felt like that before at campaigning, but you can't say it.
Well, Bob, I got people get on there. Imagine that, people who are negative about me. Now imagine that, Bob.
I can't imagine it, JJ. I just can't.
Here's what cracks me up. People get on my post and they will say stuff like, oh, he's bought off. He's been bought off. Y'all go look at my ethics report. I'm probably the poorest. I probably refused more money than anybody you know. I probably collected for politician. Bob, you want to hear something funny? I was not even set up to take money, to like credit card and stuff.
Yeah.
I've been a politician going on 10 years, and I finally went in last week, and we were having a fundraiser. I was going to try to be ready by Friday. And guess what? I had to turn down 2 donations because I didn't have my credit card completely. And I had to switch it. What got me, Bob, was I had to switch it from my house account to the lieutenant governor account So they make you wait 5 days, and then I got to go close that account. You have to officially close that account. But guys, I've never been set up to take a credit card. I've had people call me and
Now, did you have to resign from your position?
no, you just basically what you're saying is you're not going to run again from my position. So I already got people announcing from my position, So again, the thing about it is, though, Bob, to have them on there accusing you of taking all this money being bought off, it's like y'all are crazy. You lost.
Yeah, I hear that they think that you make money up there, and actually you lose money.
Well, if Bob, you do, there's ways to make money. I won't be clear with that. I've been offered money. I've been offered lots of money. Okay. I could have accepted donations and I could be going all over the place. But Bob, if and I know, Bob, you got offered to go to Florida and other places, and refuse that. I've been offered to go to Canary Islands, to, other Puerto Rico, Brazil. I could have went to all of those places and have refused to go. Nashville, England, you name it. We could all use your campaign funds, but I've turned down campaign funds, and I've, basically just until recently. Now to run a state campaign, you're going to have to get on that. But again, for him to go on there, Bob, this COVID deal is a big, big deal, and people who lost their family members, lost their loved ones, or were injured themselves or had a kid injured.
Well, what was that? What kind of question were they wanting to ask?
Well, they wanted to know why he would not address. We have given him the ability. I mean, it's ready to go. He could file charges on Fauci and anybody else involved in that under the Oklahoma Criminal Enterprise Act. It's as clear as we gave him a brief that lays it out.
Well, I thought Biden gave him a, what do you call it?
Yeah, he did. He gave him one of them auto pen pardons.
Pardon, yeah.
So it looks like that pardon ain't going to be good. But, Bob, it doesn't matter whether that pardon is good or not good, because we here in Oklahoma are going to file state charges. So Biden can, they give him the auto pen, get out of free jail card for the feds, but that doesn't mean he's covered for the state. Okay. So we prepared a whole package to get around that. When they pardoned him, we said, okay, he may be pardoned there, but look here, we've got a case on him. And we put it together. I mean, we worked with lawyers, we worked with researchers, we worked with medical people, put that all together. And then I created a probable cause using our state statutes under the criminal enterprise. And then we went and found two people who had cases, worked with them. They had awesome put together all the documents. So those two ladies did that themselves, and I worked with them to get all of that to the AG's office. So they're sitting on all of that, and then he won't even talk to these ladies and treats them like that. And man, if you remember, Bob, we had that interim study on COVID there at the Capitol building. Bob, I can't remember whether we had 3 or 4 rooms overflow. And I'm talking big rooms. We had that big room.
We had that at off somewhere there on Lincoln Boulevard.
No, that was my cattle interim study because they wouldn't let me have it. They told me I'd have to let somebody speak. And I said, no, I'm not letting them speak. And so they kicked me out, and I had to go down the street and find me.
Now, that was packed.
That's a big building. It was packed, but now it wasn't half of what that COVID. Bob, you remember that room you used to be chairman in that they used when you was chairman? Yeah. Okay, that's the one we did it in, and that's a big room. You know that overflow room right behind it?
Yeah.
We had that one. We had another room, and I forget, I think that was in 450, that big room over there. And then the one upstairs on the 5th floor that's right above that one, we had it too, I know. They may have had another one, but you couldn't even get in there, Bob. I mean, it was packed, which tells you lots of people interested in that. And he's going to turn around and tell them people, I'm a grown man, kiss my butt. You don't, I don't need your vote. Because when he's talking to those ladies, he's talking to that whole crowd, because that's the crowd they represent. And so, man, I just thought that was a really, really bad move on his part. That just,
Well, I know that he's gone down 4 points.
yeah, I heard he's fallen in the polls, and Bob, we're still early in the game.
Oh yeah.
I basically I came out for my race last of July. I have basically not. Now I've went around, man. I've been around the whole state, but I'm not working hard, what I would call hard, until about September. And in September, I'm gonna start really putting the gas to it. Now a lot of people, in fact, I've gotten calls. Man, you're all over the place. You're uh, Vice size at Sayer, uh, Elk City. I was in Tulsa, Hugo, Enid, Guthrie. I, I've been all over, Bob, but I still am not working what I'd say hard. Tahlequah, Stillwater, but at the end of the day, about September, October's when you really need to start mashing gas. April's when you're going to see. April is when things will start you'll start seeing who's ahead in April. That's when it starts counting. You know what I'm saying? Anyways,
When's the runoff?
June 16th of
Next year,
2026.
June the 16th, and elections when?
It's when the primary is, and then whoever gets, and you almost know there's going to have to be a runoff because there's so many in that race. Same as my race that I'm in. You almost guarantee.
The elections in November, like all of them.
Well, your primary will be August.
Yeah.
So you'll hit June, and then whoever gets top two will go to August. And right now, I don't know if there's a Democrat in lieutenant governor. There definitely is one in the governor's race, so it's going to November, and it definitely will. Now, I hadn't heard whether Walters has kicked off his name, whether he's kicked that off yet or not. I keep hearing he's going to get in the race, but he may or may not. Bob, another thing getting her done that I've gotten several calls on is over in Pottawatomie County is a hotbed. They had that grand jury quite some time ago,
right,
that the OSBI director, now used to be the DA, refused to prosecute anybody on, or at least that's what I was told. Anyways, they had a new prosecutor come in. He asked for an investigation in that. Now, a lot of people down there think he only did that because he's up for election. But the thing about it is, one of the deputies that was involved in one of those cases down there what I think is still under investigation. I can't swear. I know at one time under the OSBI investigation, I don't think he's been cleared of that. And Gettner hires him to work in his office. That's a bad look on these kid things. So you got this kid thing, going on across the whole state with DHS and all the problems with that. And now you're going to hire somebody who's under investigation on that. And so, that guy's out of Pottawatomie County, and Pottawatomie County and Lincoln County there has just had massive.
He aggravated me when he wouldn't investigate the doctor of all the rapes, and she had all this information, and he wouldn't even investigate it. I'm not saying you have to take sides on one way or the other, just investigate it, and he didn't do it.
Well, Bob, what aggravates me even as much, you're right, he didn't do it, but what really just hurt, I can't even, I'd almost cuss, Bob, but here's what really aggravated me, is that he come out and said he did. And so everybody come against us like, well, that got investigated. Y'all was wrong. But you bring him in when we brought his right-hand man in and we brought him into that investigation. Did you talk to the whistleblower? No. Well, Bob, how are you going to do an investigation?
He didn't call me. He didn't call you.
He didn't call either of us. How are you going to do that? We met with her. We got her to the lawyer. So it's me, you, and the lawyer that know a lot about this case. Of course, she knows more than all of us. So there's the 4 people that if you're going to investigate, you probably ought to talk to all 4. At least 2 out of the 4 you ought to talk to. If they'd have went and talked to you.
Well, he did go ask DLC about it. They said there wasn't nothing there, and then he closed. Well, that's what they said.
Well, but Bob, Here's what's funny. We've done 2 cases. So we've done beat them twice in their court. So the court sided with us and saying, yes, they did violate this. Okay. We had OMES that we properly filed through, and we showed that they submitted it not once, but twice. And that the first time they submitted it, absolutely nothing done. The second time they submitted it, there wouldn't have been anything done had I not submitted that investigation that we put together with it. And then they come in, yeah, we've investigated that. Well, okay, did you talk to OMS? No. Did you talk to her lawyer? No. Did you talk to Cleveland? No. Well, I know you didn't talk to me. Did you talk to her? No. So you didn't talk to any of them, didn't talk to any of the witnesses, and yet you're going to say that you did an investigation. Well, we didn't need to talk to y'all. Well, why? Well, because we didn't find the allegations of rape. Well, okay, that's allegations of rape. We're talking whistleblower. We're talking, did she get fired for coming forward with information? And Bob, there's no question. She's won it in court, and they just keep continuing it.
Well, there's all kinds of things out now about PREAs they're not investigating. I mean, I've never had so many PREAs.
Well, Bob, and not only that, they're going down there and telling them guys, shut your mouth, don't report this. And it doesn't matter. Once it's reported, there's a process it's got to go through, and they're not following that process. So to say that's not being covered up, I mean, how many people this week have we talked to that said, yes, they have PREAs, yes, they come up here, they come in, staff comes in, says, hey, this didn't happen, you need to go back to your bunk, and that's the end of the story. They don't follow protocol. Right. Now, again, Bob, that's just to cover numbers, but again, for him not only to not investigate it, he didn't investigate it, but for him to set us back so that now every time we come forward, Gettner looked into that, the AG looked into that, there wasn't nothing there. You know what I'm saying? Then you tell people, no, he didn't look into it. Oh, yeah, he did. He said he did. Well, he is a liar if he says that. That's a lie. Go get our 2-hour interview. Go get the guy. You remember, Bob, the guy sitting in there that from his office saying, well, rapes in prison are hard to prove because they're consensual.
Yeah.
And everybody knows they're not consensual. You can't have consensual sex, an officer with an inmate. You know that. I know that. Everybody on the street knows that. Apparently, the AG's office is the only one that doesn't know that, okay? And he sat right in there. I actually knew that's what he's going to say. I was like, hey, I actually have the copy of the statute for rape. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Let me read section 7. And I read section 7, which says it's rape. And he goes, well, you have to have confirmation. And we provided how many cases that day with confirmation? Did they come back around and say, hey, we should open this? In fact, he went out on the news and said, I hadn't followed up and hadn't. And Bob, here's what's funny. I sent him a certified mail following up saying, yes, we have found this. Look at this investigation. Look at these human rights violations.
Yep.
He refused to do anything with it. And Bob, that's why I filed. So because of all of that together, what happens is that DOC goes over to the House, so our House leadership, and makes an agreement with House leadership. They send me an email saying they made an agreement with House leadership and that I can no longer get records, and that basically if I want to see records, I got to come to their office and I've got to sign a non-disclosure. Now, guess what he does the other day, Bob? Gettner.
He probably offered you a chance to look at those in his office.
Well, now they did do that. They did. Basically, my attorney called me up and said, that if I would dismiss without prejudice, where I could refile it, that I could get those records to that office, to Gettner's office. Gettner offered to let me come over there, and again, I'd like getting her. I mean, he's actually a very if you talk to him, he's pretty pleasant to talk to. He's not, But what I got against him is this kind of stuff right here. He's in the highest position, and he doesn't do any of this. He doesn't. You know what I'm saying? He lets these state agencies get away with murder, literally get away with murder and rape, and he does nothing. And then he comes out after I come out with a lawsuit, and then guess what he does? Oh, we're going to have a big deal where open records. All you got to do is call in to us, and if you can't get records, we're going to help you get records. Well, Bob, that's after 4 years after I filed the lawsuit, after we put out 850 documents. They know damn good and well I got documented out the wazoo. And now, oh, we're going to help you get these records. And if you want, you can come over here and sit down and read these. Hey, listen, I don't have to call. I should not have to beg. Can I get Gettner to get my records? And can I get him to let me come over to his office? Bob, I'm entitled to those records.
If you did that, you're just saying you've done something wrong.
Well, that's it. I mean, you're saying, hey, okay, I did something wrong, so I'll just let and go over here and let him get them. So I can't be trusted, and so I'll sit with the AG and let him hold my hand while I read these. But even more than that, Bob, they didn't do anything until we filed something of that magnitude. It had to be filed, to get them to do that. And what's aggravating to me is how many cases are out there like that. Because that's one case involved. Well, not one. I got multiple things. But Bob, I can tell you all kinds of cases. I mean, I'm working on a case Friday afternoon like you wouldn't believe. I'm having to run over to the Supreme Court over there because the guy, you got a judge that got kicked out of the case, and now he inserts himself back in the case and orders the police to go take the kid out of home and put him in a home they know is abusive. And again, he was kicked out of the case. And everybody's, well, it's not my jurisdiction, not my jurisdiction. Oh, I've got
whenever you ask him, you're just asking him to investigate. You're not asking him to make an opinion on anything, right?
Well, most of the time, Bob, like that rape deal, we just wanted to investigate it. They didn't investigate. The human rights violation, we just wanted them to investigate. They didn't investigate. And what I'm saying is, DOC and what Gettner does and his office does, they go over to DOC. Did y'all investigate this? Oh, absolutely. Look here, like on that human rights violation, Bob. They did an investigation. They come up with 102 pages. And you know what they found?
Nothing.
They didn't do anything. Bob, let me ask you, how do you take a 102-page investigation to find nothing? If there wasn't nothing there, my report would probably be a page or two long. And to get a witness 102 pages is a lot of pages of nothing. That's a whole lot of pages to say nothing happened. I could say nothing happened in about 3 sentences. We looked into it.
I just have to let them know that they did their work and they didn't find nothing.
Well, Bob, here's the only problem with that. In the last pages, it says, well, nothing happened and we'll never do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to do this. It kind of did happen, but we were only moving them and we only kept them there for no more than 3 days, But dadgum, 3 days, golly. But nope, didn't happen, but we will never do it again. Yeah. And if you're reading that ought to be a clue. Scooby-Doo would call that a clue right there. If you say you'll never do it again, there's a pretty good chance you've done it, okay? So, again, that would warrant them investigating. Guess what? No investigation, none whatsoever. And
you know what I'm hearing today, JJ? That they're firing these people, these officers, long term, and they're fighting. They're trying to stop them from getting workman's comp. Bob, how low can you get?
I mean, but Bob, here's what's funny. And people who watch us on prison stuff and talk about prison stuff already know this, but most of our listeners on here are not going to know this. So we had a situation this Friday, we reported it. We'd heard it a little while earlier, but we couldn't confirm it. Now we pretty certain you can't confirm it through DOC,
Yeah.
but we've confirmed it through multiple sources. And they had where we're disagreeing. Our reports are different. So Bob hears it's not a psychologist. I hear it was a psychologist, but one of their staff members held other staff hostage for approximately 30 minutes, is what we're told. They went down after they got her in custody, and they went down and basically found 2 firearms, I think loaded. I don't know, loaded or unloaded, but they found 2 firearms in their vehicle. Well, guys, kidnapping and hostage taking is against the law. You know, I mean, that's really.
Well, people have been fired for having guns in their car.
Well, and here's what's funny. Like, this lady's back to work. She didn't even get fired. She didn't get charges filed on her for kidnapping or hostage taking. She didn't get charges filed on her for having guns on the property. Now, if you're a law enforcement officer, you can, but if not, I think it's illegal to have them on there. But Bob, here's what's funny is the guy, they did a shakedown of the prison over at Hinton, I think it was, and the guy walked in with one of them little pocket knives in his pocket. They fired him and filed charges on him. Here's the lady that takes people hostage for 30 minutes, has guns in her vehicle, no charges, no nothing, comes back to work in a week or 2. Now, is that not insane? And Bob, kick this in, you got to kick this in the boot, is that the director himself, I'm told, at OSP carried a firearm down there to the death row unit, carried a firearm into that prison, illegal as all get out. Nobody covered that up like nobody's business. Had inmates wash his vehicle, so I'm told. And guess what? Same thing. Left a loaded firearm, shotgun, in the back seat with inmates having access to it. I mean, those are fireable offenses, both of them. And yet that guy's got that audacity. Let this lady go on major crimes, on having guns, let himself go on a gun in the car, shot his own floor, and here's this cat that walks in with the pocket knife, and we're going to file charges on him. And again, what bothers me is our AG is, you know what, he's AWOL on all this stuff. He is AWOL totally on all this.
Well, didn't the director Harpe, did he make a statement one time that he's got the AG in his back pocket or something along those lines?
Pretty much, basically, he was coming out against me, and he said that he named 2 or 3 different agencies, AG being one of them, who were totally behind him, in support of him. And he said that when Stitt was gone, if I think he said that if Gettner gets it, he will stay on. I think he made that statement. I can't be 100% sure. That's been a little while back.
I thought you gave up coffee.
Well, Bob, I have given up coffee 3 pots a day, but that's my 3rd cup today. So that's my 3rd cup.
That's what you got there, JJ. That's not a cup.
Well, Bob,
that's a giant cup.
That's a large cup, Bob. That's a large cup. I didn't say how big a cup size. I didn't say how big. But Bob, I've cut way back. Now, you of all people know I drink a little coffee. And so 3 cups, even big cups, that's still holding off for me quite a bit. And yesterday, Bob, I only had two small cups.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. So guys, just so you know, I'm trying to get trimmed up, and I'm trying to quit coffee. I think, it'd be good for me not to drink 3 pots. So I'm going to cut down to maybe half a pot a day and see if we can be successful at it. I think it'll make me feel better. We'll see. Bob, coffee calms me down, though. It doesn't wire me up. It calms me down.
So what else is Drummond done?
Well, Bob, here's the deal on that open records that we're talking about. I should be able right now to ask DOC for records on this hostage. Now, let me ask you something, Bob. When I write them a request for records on this hostage situation, what do you think I'm going to get?
What I think you're going to get nothing.
Yeah. Well, Bob, let me tell you what I did the other day. I got a whole bunch of murders. Well, not say murders. I found out that they had roughly about 29 people that I could verify die at one prison. So I called in on all those deaths. I had 8 of them that I knew were murders. So I called and requested, I said, I want to see the OIG investigation for these murders. Now it takes a month and a half to get this. On 8, on things they already got done. These are already done. Should take you 3 days max to get it. So here's the deal, it takes a month and a half. They don't send me the investigations. They send me incident reports, which are a brief description. It's not the investigation. And then guess what they do with that?
What?
They redact it. You would have thought I was asking CIA records. You know what I'm saying? Bob, when I am not over exaggerating, you couldn't even read. It was blacked out to the point that you could. It was
But JJ, it's not just us. He's not giving open records to. He won't give open records to the press. He won't give them to different people in the press.
Yeah, Bob. I mean, everybody cannot get records, and so Gittner comes out with this big deal. But you're a little late on that. I mean, that's a little late. You do it after I file a lawsuit on all of it. I think, you know what, Bob? I don't believe in coincidences, and so I think that that lawsuit had something to do with him coming out with the open records deal.
But they didn't come out with it, but nothing happened.
Well, it's just a political ploy, Bob. It's just me, it's him saying, oh, look, I'm after the government. I'm after them to be transparent and hold them accountable. Well, where you been the past 4 years? How many things have we turned in? How many things we asked you to investigate? How many things have we requested for you to look into, step into? And again, Bob, we've never come in and said, hey, this person's done it. We said it warrants investigation. But Bob, I mean, the stuff we turned in on all that rape and whistleblower, my gosh. I mean, that would warrant investigation.
We had proof on every one of them.
Yeah, he lied. He lied and said they investigated. That was a square up lie. The human rights violations, we have massive evidence. They lied. There was no investigation into that. That was all set up. That's a lie. All these murders, guess what? They've not looked into that at all. All of that, all the other stuff I've turned in with DHS, all the lie. And
well,
then,
I've not seen one thing different about open records request by not just us, by other people. I haven't not had one guy say, "Oh, I got mine." No, they didn't get theirs either.
Bob, the last open records I turned into, it took me forever, and there was one part in there that I knew old Matt Frisbee had asked him for, and they never gave to Matt Frisbee. So our OCP attorney at the time, they never gave that to him. And so when I did my open records, I said, oh, by the way, I want this right here too. And I didn't say I was asking for Matt. I didn't say I know Matt already. I just said, hey, I'm looking into this matter and I want to know this too. Well, they took that information, sent over to Matt, never gave it to me, and sent to Matt and said, here's your information that you and Humphrey want. And I laughed. I found out that he didn't call me. I think you told me maybe. And so I called Matt and said, hey, Matt, why are they tying me and you together? And he said, JJ, I don't know anything about that. Why did they do that? I'm the one requested it. I said, well, here's what happened, Matt. I said, I knew you'd requested that, and I think you probably told me that. So I just added that to my request, and I had to heat on them enough they had to answer my request. But they sent it over there thinking that we was in cahoots together. But again, they should have answered both of us. He had a request in, I had a request in. They should have sent it to both of us. They never gave me that information. I was able to get it. But here's what's funny, Bob. what that is over is them hiring outside counsel. So again, one of the things we're trying to stress, and I've written, I don't know how many times I wrote to or talked to or wrote Gittner's office. And I will say this though, the last time I wrote him, I got a female over there. I don't remember her name, but she wrote me back and said, "This is the first I've heard of this, and I will have that to you directly." And boy, when it landed in her lap, I'm telling you. So when you get somebody that is, you know, doing their job, every once in a while you can, because that guy, I do want to take my hat off, say, hey, that gal right there did a heck of a job. But here's what's funny, Bob. I got that to our new OCP lawyer and said, hey, here's the ones that are approved. And guess what? We've got all kinds of cases that it appears that they're not approved to go outside. Now, DOC may fall under that category where they can go outside. But even if they are, why are they going outside, hiring $500 an hour lawyers on wrongful? They have a whole team already being paid. What do they call that? General counsel. They have their
like
lawyers.
4 or 5 counsel lawyers over there now.
They're paying the whole division general counsel now on a simple, wrongful fire lawsuit that they've lost usually twice by the time they go get somebody. Guess what? They're going out and spending, and it's a waste of money, Bob, because they can't hardly, you know what I'm saying? They ain't going to win because it's not retrying the case. It was it done wrong? Was the case done wrong? Stupid as all. All that is, Bob, is making OCP lose money. It's making those people who are on those lawsuits having to wait to get paid, get any money. They're trying to ruin them, trying to bury them on time, and then they're using the tax dollars to bury them. And Bob, the last thing I was going to bring up is that I was there. I think that was Thursday that I went to court on Richard Glossop. And again, most of y'all have already known about Richard Glossop's case. But Glossop's a guy who's been in prison over 27 years. He's been on death row. He's been on the gurney 3 times, I think. Been that close to being killed. We got involved in his case. Gittner actually helped us and argued to get his case thrown out so that they could bring it back, retry it. Now, why is Gittner argued all that, showing how this guy has been cheated, done wrong, and now all of a sudden gets back in and he's like, oh, I think he's guilty and we're going to move forward and try to get him convicted. Now, Bob, that is insane because Gittner argued that the DAs have destroyed evidence. So they destroy evidence, totally destroy evidence. And you know what I'm saying? How would that guy get a fair trial? If they destroyed the evidence that would clear him, how will he get a fair trial? And Gittner argued that, now turns right around and goes, let's try it. Now, here's the other problem, Bob, and this is where we're at, Bob.
Wait a minute. Before Gittner said he couldn't get a fair trial?
Absolutely, because guess what? If you go up there and look, we took that case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Gittner was part of that, presenting that to the U.S. Supreme Court, saying, hey, this guy did not get a fair trial. They destroyed the evidence. Guess what? If they destroyed the evidence that would clear him, how's he going to get a fair trial? If they perjured, and now, Bob, all the witnesses are dead. Most of the witnesses are dead in these cases. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And again, it's, Bob, we're working on David Fleener case. Same thing, same kind of situation, where a medical examiner gives a totally false, the guy gets convicted over that, and then now you're trying to get it in front of the court and try to show, but your witnesses are gone. You got, boy, it's complicated. But here's the deal. He argued on this side, and then now he belly flopped, and he comes over and he's letting the DAs get involved because here's what it appears.
Did he not have something in writing?
He did have, and that's what I was, Bob, when all this is going down and it looks like Gittner's going to get out there, he calls up the legal team. They didn't call him. He called up the legal team and said, hey, when this goes down like this, what I'd like to do is I'd like to offer him I can't remember whether it's second degree or what kind of negligent, or something like that.
Yeah.
And if he promises, and they got this in writing, that he will not sue the state. He won't sue the state. He'll plead guilty to this charge, and he walks out. Now they had to call DOC to make sure that he would be able to get good time and that his time would.
Hang on a second. Doesn't the state have insurance on lawsuits?
They do. Here's the deal. They got. I think it's. I can't remember how much per year that when you get wrongfully convicted like it, it's already, you don't even have to sue. It's automatically, I think, done. So again, I don't know whether he'd be eligible if he pled guilty to a crime. That kind of knocks him out of that. And then if they say you won't come back and sue, it's open and shut. But here's the thing, Bob. You're arguing one side. You call up and make a deal. Now you weasel out of the deal, which ain't a good look on your chief prosecutor. Weasel out of a deal you already made. It's in writing. Multiple people had to be involved in it because they had to call DOC and say, will he get credit for all of this time he's done? Okay, so end of the day, why would you weasel out like that? And I will tell you why it looks to me. He made the DAs really mad when he fought for Glossop.
Yeah.
So now he's coming back and he's trying to straddle that fence and he's trying to say, hey, DAs, you can come in, you can be involved in this case. And that way it makes amends. He's trying to look like tough on crime. So basically, it's a political pull. It's a political maneuver. And here's where I'm aggravated. This is the main reason I want to talk today because we were up there on Thursday. He is using Richard Glossop as a political pawn. And Bob, there's just certain things you don't do. And using somebody else's life like that as a pawn to say, oh, that's not election stuff. That's not stuff. This is a person's life.
Yeah.
And again, for him to do that, and you got the victims. It's playing with the victims, it's playing with him, all playing politics to get yourself to the governor. I call Richard Glossop right now a political prisoner. He's Gittner's political prisoner. He's a Gittner political prisoner, and it's not right, Bob. I don't like it, and that's one of the main things that it's not very wise when you're in an election to go out and talk about other elections. You stay on your election. You don't get off on other elections. But I couldn't let this stuff go. Mainly, this deal with Richard was the thing that just got my goat. But just his attitude. And again, I think, and I appreciate, Bob. I'm always the same way you're talking about. We need more facts on what happened at Tulsa. And the video on the COVID deal kind of speaks for itself, and what he's done on that case speaks for itself. Hiring the other guy, he may have had his reasons. I don't know why he would hire a law enforcement guy that is under investigation, and the investigation doesn't seem to be clear. Maybe he knows more on that than we do. But what he's done on the rape deals, claiming he's done them and not done them, and all the stuff with DOC and all the stuff with DHS, coming out with the open records after we've asked for all that stuff. How many? I mean, please investigate this. Please investigate that. Please investigate this. And can't get records. And then, we're going to start helping with that. We're going to get you these records. That kind of got my goat. And then what he's doing with Richard Glossop, it really gets me crawled. It kind of makes me pretty mad that he's trying to straddle that fence now, and that he's using this guy's political pawn. And this guy's been in there 27 years. He made a deal. Now he's weaseling out of the deal. The deal's in writing, and the deal involved more people than just the legal team and him. So you can verify the deal. It's going to be interesting. The judge recused the other day. Apparently had some pretty close ties to people in maybe at Smotherman, I guess, close ties to them or something. So anyways, they recused out of this. Be interested who you draw. Sometimes you got to be careful about getting judge recused. You may get somebody, you may get somebody better. You may get somebody worse. So
right.
It'd be interesting to see what happens. So Well, Bob, what are we going to talk about on pet peeves next week? What's your pet peeve, Bob?
Well, JJ, I don't know where to start. My pet peeve is when you call up some of these uh, numbers that people can't speak English. You can't get across to them, get transferred out or anything. You just get messed up. All these people that's using foreigners to do their answer their mail, and one of them I called up, and they said they were AI, and I said, well, okay. And so they said, well, okay, you're doing this, you want this, this, this. Well, I never said nothing. And that person was all screwed up.
Yeah, AI just it reacts to certain words or certain things. It jumps in. But Bob, they ought to get, you know what? It's bad enough private business have that, but the dadgum government ought to have somebody, a real person. Bob, it just anymore, man, if you get a real person on the phone, it
Oh,
just,
it's hard.
well, it's about knock you out of your seat. But you know what? When you get a real person, most of the time, you can get something done. You can actually sit there. Okay, here's who you need. Okay. Now every once in a while they got some of them. Man, I tell you, Bob, some of the younger people anymore, man, they don't know. You call them. That AI might have it up on some of them. I don't know. But it's just really difficult when you want to pay something, when you want to do something, when you want to fix something, to get a call and get to the right place. And it just aggravates the crud out of me when you call the government up. And Bob, I don't know about you, but you get that. Well, if you want so and so, you press one. If you want so and so, press two. If you need this, office three. If you want this, four, six, seven. And by the time I get through eight of them, I'm going, was it one or four? So I got to listen to it again.
That
The whole
too.
process. Then I go, it's at four. It's four. Okay. So I listen. Now this is my fourth phone call or third listening. Bam, I hit four. Switches you over. Okay, if you want so and so, hit one. If you want so and so, hit. I got to listen again. Now I got to go through the whole process again. Now I got to go through it again. Boom, I hit it. So now I'm on 6 phone calls, and I finally get to the person I need. And guess what happens, Bob?
They don't know anything.
No, you get, I'm sorry, I'm not in the office.
Oh, yeah.
If you'll leave your message, I will never, ever, ever, ever in your lifetime call you back.
I tried to call my doctor, okay, try to confirm something. Well, I call and I get this run around just like you're talking about here. Hit four, hit three, anything. So if I hit or start calling back and hitting the next one number. And I get somebody answer the phone and I'm asking about it and say, "Oh no, you got the wrong department. That's not for us. We don't set appointments up. That's another agency. But I can transfer you." Then you get transferred, and you get transferred. You're out there in no man's land.
Doctors are the worst, Bob. I got my cancer doctor, and I'm behind on my appointment because you call down there and you can't get that doctor's office direct. They have a whole deal for the whole state of Texas.
Yeah.
So then you got to call, and then you finally get somebody.
No, JJ, here's the one. When I called the call, and I got the hold of the nurse on voicemail, and says, "We will return your call in 24 hours. Thank you for calling." You know what? They never returned it yet. It's been weeks. Never returned that call.
I talked to them the other day, same thing, and they said we returned your call. Your phone was busy. I said, well, now you ain't got no call from you. I got a deal that shows who called me, and there
Yeah,
ain't
I've
no
had that
call.
too. Yeah.
903 is not on here. I guarantee you. I was like, yeah, y'all called me. I'm guarantee you, bull crap. So
Yeah.
it's Bob. It's frustrating. I've got to where, in fact, I'm gonna switch from that company over to Oklahoma if I can find me a cancer doctor in Oklahoma. But now, Bob, that'll be next week's pet peeve on why our medicine is why it is. We got lots of pet peeves, but if y'all got a pet peeve, let us know. We'll have a discussion on it. We had talked about, we thought it'd be good just to kind of have that at the beginning or throughout the show, talk about our pet peeves because, man, there are so many things in today's society that is just really frustrating, really makes you mad. We're going to call them out. I hope the government will go after some of these robocalls and we'll do something on what we're talking about. Put somebody in these agencies to answer the stinking phone and direct the public. They work for the public. The public ought to be able to get hold of them. I will say this: our LAs up there at the house do a great job. They answer the phone. If you do get a message, they get back to you. They're very professional. At least
Yeah, I know where they're taking their phone numbers off the where they have your list of the representatives, what their list is, where it's at, but they don't give a number to call.
Well, if you go through that switchboard, they still are there at the house at least. You still get a real person who can direct you. So, like, you want my office, you can call in there and say, "Hey, I want Humphrey's office." And
but they should have them listed on their.
I agree, Bob. 1,000%.
I mean, they work for the state, but I heard someone say, "Well, we get too many calls." Well, you know what? Do your job.
Well, guess what? You work for the whole state of Oklahoma. You ought to be getting a few calls. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We work for them. Take your calls. I mean, that's the. Well, Bob, we're 2 minutes after. We could go on. We could grab.
Well, thank you, JJ. I'll get with you next week. You coming to town tomorrow?
I may come tomorrow, Bob. I'll holler at you if I'm up there.
Well, if you do, I want to put that stuff around that pipe. See if it's leaking.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
All right. Thank you, JJ.
Bye-bye.